So much.
Trust me.
You're listening to Meadows and Makers podcast.
With Jacked Up and Making Stuff. Peace.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another week of the Meadows and Makers podcast, brought to you here on the MSP Waves with this social interactive media broadcasting network that we got going on here in the Steamiverse. And this show is Meadows and Makers podcast. My name is Greg, aka Making Stuff on Steemit, and I am your host. And the show is, if you're unfamiliar with it, it's all about maker and homesteader type folks, self-sufficient, usually jack of all trades type people that I try to bring on the show as just an inspiration on a different way of living, and get to learn their stories and look to inspire you toward living a more self-sufficient and resilient lifestyle in the modern day here. So that's what I do. I just go around and I try to interview these really interesting Steamians and get to know them a little better on the show and share that with you guys, and then anything that we kind of get into what they're all about and what brought them here. So welcome, everybody. Thank you. Shout out to the audience this morning. Everybody that's here. We got Mama Monza, we got Rondon, and we got Solo Miner. Thank you guys for showing up today. I appreciate y'all being here in the live chat room. If you're hanging out and you have any questions during the show, please feel free to put them in there in the live chat. Hey there, Solo Miner, you're the man. So put them there in the live chat, and then we'll field them as we go. And if you're listening in, a couple of the other ways we have is on the MSP Waves site. It's mspwaves.com /listen. Listen live, and you can listen in there and watch the video stream. You can deafen yourself here in the Discord and listen on there for a little bit better experience. And then we also have vim.tv, and any of your chats on vim.tv will come into the Discord via a bot, and you can participate in the live show as well. So thank you for being here. Just a little show housekeeping up front. I got a disclaimer that the views and opinions of this show are my own and those of my guests, and they do not reflect the on the MSP Waves station here. And if you have any issues, complaints, comments, feedback, send them my way. Making stuff in a DM here on Discord, and let me know what's up. If you got any good constructive feedback. Also, I love hearing from you guys in the comments on the show recordings. The show will be posted up in a recording later this evening. And so if you guys have any comments or anything about the show, I'd love to hear them. So send them my way. The Meadows and Makers podcast. Also do some contests and run a maker contest. I will be looking to get another maker contest started this month in August, and so stay tuned for that and look out for a post for that. I'll have some Steam rewards there for different posts on self-reliant sustainability type posts, so look out for that. If you have any suggestions for any contests, feel free to send it my way. An idea for a contest, please send it my way. Anything geared towards the, kind of living a more reliant and sustainable lifestyle. Really appreciate that. I'd have a motto for the show, and sometimes I forget to say the motto, but my motto for the show is I will be an inextinguishable light of possibilities for myself and others. And with that said, I'd like to introduce the guest today. Our guest today is another jack of all trades type guy. He runs his own little project here on Steemit called Doer's Minnows. It's John Doer 123. He's a really cool guy. That's we got to chatting for a good bit the other night, and kind of went for a good while. He's a really interesting character that he does a lot of work with stone, and we talked about some of his projects that he's got lined up for that. So we're going to get into some of that and get to know him a little better today. So without further ado, welcome John Doer 123. How are you?
Doing well. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Oh,
I can hear you.
Good deal.
Yeah. So, yeah, brother, if you wanted to maybe, introduce yourself and let everybody know a little bit about your background and how you made it here on Steemit.
It started out, had a YouTube channel, and took a very short while for me to be banned. Speak in my own opinion, and went from there to the internet search bar looking for something to replace it, and came across DTube, which led me to Steemit. Started there. It took a while to get any traction, as it goes, but I decided I wasn't going to give up. Stuck with it. Didn't take long to meet a bunch of good people. Helped me along.
Awesome, man. Yeah, it's so crazy the amount of censorship that's going on YouTube. I do this podcast, and then I also upload it to YouTube, and I tried putting in the tags or in the body of the post something about Steemit and DTube, and it wouldn't even let me upload the video. And so,
imagine that.
So yeah, you have to remove the tags, and then you're allowed to upload your video there. But yeah, man, it's getting pretty totalitarian there.
Yeah, I stay away unless I'm trying to look up something I figure out.
Yeah. So, Solo Miner just learned that you got bit by a rattlesnake. So he's saying, shouldn't you be in the hospital instead of doing an interview? If you want to maybe go into that story a little bit off the bat here.
Yeah. Right. So I'll start out with about 20%, 30% of rattlesnake bites are what they call a dry bite. And I think normally your older snakes are the ones that will dry bite. And what they do is they just give a warning strike. Rattlesnakes, most poisonous snakes, can choose whether they inject venom, how much they inject, from each fang. So they got a lot of control. And on a dry bite, about the only thing you got to worry about is like a bacterial from the puncture. But yeah, no, when I first got bit, I was in freak out mode.
Yeah.
I mean, this thing was a good 7, 8 feet long, biggest one I'd ever seen in my life. And where I live at, we see them a lot. So I was pretty sure I was going to the hospital and probably gonna have my leg cut off. So snapped a picture of it and fought the urge to run back to my truck and walked back calmly, a 10-minute walk. And when I got there, it still wasn't any like massive amount of pain. There was definitely no swelling. I had about a 45-minute drive to get back to town, and on the on the ride there is when I realized that I think I was going to be okay
Yeah.
because there was no pain. It felt like I just got stung by a couple of bees or hornet,
Okay.
but even that subsided halfway back to town. So there was next to no pain. Uh, and a few hours into it, all I had was some bruising.
Yeah.
And after a couple hours, they say if there's no swelling, that it's probably yeah, absolutely. Got to wear snake boots. That's right.
Yeah.
Um, but well, what happened is that day we've been looking to buy a farm, and
Right.
I had just found this piece of property, and initially we were just going to go and kind of do a drive-by, and well, you get there and the urge takes over. I took off toward the woods, and I went to step over a log. He was under there.
Yep. Dang.
He gave me the warning. So yeah, luckily no hospital visit. Um, I have health insurance, and I called the nurses line, and they told me I absolutely go to the hospital.
Yeah.
Uh, but they're also the ones that told me that after a couple of hours, there's no swelling,
Then
pain,
you're probably gonna
that
be
it's
okay.
probably yeah.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Man, that is crazy. That is very lucky. That's uh, I've I've had a few run-ins with some copperheads. We got copperheads all over the place here where I'm at, and it's it's man, they can come up on you. You just have to be aware during this time of year that they're hanging out and all over the place, and they're usually, like you said, you found yours under a log. They're usually hiding out someplace like that, and you just never know. So yeah, man. So well, dadgummit, they knocked him into the audience. I don't know why I did that. All right, are you back with me?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yep.
Good deal. Yeah, yeah. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, yeah. It's one of those funny businesses that happen on Discord, and so yeah, we're just saying that yeah, those things can happen with the snakes. They just come up on you. So you were out there on a little piece of property that you're interested in buying to maybe go and homestead and build your own little house and everything, huh?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I've lived in the city longer than I want to, about 16 years. Uh, and after I grew up on an 1,100-acre farm,
Okay.
so living in the city's been tough. And
I bet.
so yeah, I'm ready to get back out to it, get some fruit trees, garden,
Cool.
some animals, ducks, chickens, a milk goat, and so on, and kind of say goodbye to buying the government's food and all their sugary stuff, and
Yeah.
be able to control and know exactly what I'm and my kids.
Right. Right. Yeah. So yes. So you you found a nice little piece of land that is looking like you might be. It's looking pretty promising, huh?
Yeah, it's got a spring on it, which means, free water that's chemical free. And the creek that it flows into has a bunch of stone that is buildable. So we'll be pulling that stone out of the creek
Okay.
to build a stone house.
Yeah, that's really wild, man. So uh that's part of your trade, huh? Is you do a lot of stone work.
Right. It's one of many.
Oh, we got him kicked off again. Um, well, that sucks. While we're waiting, we got just a hello to Nate on Steven and Peachy Mod and Soundwaves for joining us this morning. We got John Doer 123 on the show today, and we're kind of getting to know him a little bit and figure out his Steam journey and everything like that. Looks like he got kicked off here again. I don't know what the heck is going on with that, so we'll be figuring it out. We're having a couple issues. He's on his phone, so let's see if we can get him back here soon, and keep rolling on with the show. How's everybody doing this morning? Just see how you guys are doing. If anybody's got any questions or anything, feel free to pop those up in the chat whenever something comes up. If you are interested in asking some questions here. So let me see if I can get. I see him back in the chat room. See him back in the room there. All right. Hey John, are you back?
I'm back.
All right. Oh man. Well, I hope this doesn't continue to happen too much, but we'll
Oh,
keep on.
man.
We'll keep on rolling with the punches. But so when you left, we were just started to talk about your one of your many skills. You do a lot of stonework.
Right. Yeah. And yeah, what I was saying is we'll be pulling the stone out of the creek to build a stone house with.
Yeah, man, we talked about that last night when we were getting to chat. But a lot of the houses, in ancient times, everything was made out of stone, and all that stuff is still standing. It's like, that's kind of a lost. It's kind of a lost art.
Yeah, and when you once it's quarried and pulled out, you know, well, you build a house out of it and it won't burn, and a tornado's not going to blow it down. And even if after 1,000 years it falls in, well, you pick them back up, you glue them back together, and you got a house again.
Yeah, yeah. So what's the process for building a stone house? Like,
Well,
how do you select your stone, and like how do you get them all to mesh together and all that?
what you want to do is you want to stay away from any scaly or flakes apart. Um, and what you're looking for is just good solid stone. Anything. It doesn't have to be granite or anything like that. Any type of creek stone will work as long as it isn't real scaly or real flake. To be solid, so that way it could.
Okay.
And
Okay.
and then generally, you start with the big boys on the bottom because nobody wants to lift them up to put them on top,
Yeah.
and it gives you it gives you a good foundation. And normally those big rocks are laid at or below ground level, uh,
Okay.
and then you build off top of those, and they kind of add to.
Okay. Do you have to do anything to prepare the foundation, or can you just start with the stone just straight on the ground?
Well, you can do it either way. In my case, we'll have a full basement, so we'll pour concrete walls using full, and then once those are up, just you put up a termite barrier, which is sheet of metal that goes between the concrete and the rock. And that's just, in our case, it's only because code requires. Obviously, the termites aren't going to be eating the rocks, but you got to put it there. And then after that, you just go up with rock.
Wow. Okay. Very cool.
And it's, you just use masonry mortar.
Okay, yeah, that was Nate. Nate on Steam. It just popped up a question. Says, was asking what type of concrete or whatever is holding the rock together.
Yeah, right. You wouldn't use concrete because of the pebbles, the rocks, the stone that are in it, and so what you're looking for is in between each rock. You'll strike it, like you just put down a big slab of mortar, put the rock on top of it, and then you use a trowel to push the mortar tight to the rock, and that creates a waterproof seal.
A trial, is that a specific tool or?
Yeah, it's just a flat piece of metal with a handle on it.
Okay.
Really, and what you use to manipulate the mud and put it where you want.
Okay.
And then once once you got it pressed against the rock and it's I don't know, halfway set up, you go through and take like a wire brush and you wire brush it to knock the bigger stuff off, and then you kind of just use your finger to smooth out what's left there. And I mean that's about all it takes to get that smooth look. Like when you look at those old buildings that are made of stone, and you see the lines between the rock.
Yeah.
That's that mortar, and that's about all they did. They may have used like a piece of cloth or something. But,
okay.
yeah, that's how you get smooth.
Okay. Wow. Okay. So
Like,
go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, like if you're doing brickwork, there's different types of striking. You got like a barrel strike and a V strike and a weather strike. And on stone, like on a house, all you're looking for is something that's just smooth.
Okay.
Smooth and kind of flows with the.
Okay. So Nate just came up with a question. He's asking, is rock construction easier than brick construction, in your opinion?
That's a matter of preference. If you ask union bricklayers what's easier, they'll scream at you if you ask them to pick up a rock.
Yeah.
They like the bricks because they're all the same size, same thickness. You snap a line, you put the brick up to that height.
Right.
But brick, you can't find brick in a creek for free.
Yeah,
So
that's true. Yeah.
I'm looking for economical, and so that's the main reason I'm going with the stone. To buy as much brick as I'm going to use in rock, I don't even know what it would.
Yeah.
Tens of thousands.
Yeah. So how are you moving all this stone around? Do you have some equipment to help you out and going and gathering it from the creek and bringing it back and everything?
Yeah, some of the bigger stuff. What we'll do is we'll go in there, grab all the bigger stuff with heavy equipment, everything that'll be like base rock, and then like for the foundation. And then there'll be a few big ones that we will. Yeah, I'm a stoner. But yeah, we'll have like we're gonna have a few places where we're gonna take like some really flat, long, nice pieces of stone that are real pretty, and what we'll do is we'll make benches like out right. Just we'll lay those rock in the wall as we build the wall. So we'll have one that's going to be like the kitchen table basically, and then we're going to do a couple that will act as like heights for our bed. But they'll just be stones that protrude out of the wall on the inside of the house.
Whoa.
Yeah, so
That's pretty cool.
All those big ones will come first, and everything will just be moved to the site. And then we'll use just trucks with a trailer to pull the rest. We'll pick them all up, carry them out of the creek, and throw them on the trailer and haul them up there by hand.
Wow. So you think there's going to be enough rock on the land that you could do the whole house? And Nate asks, How big is this? How big is the building going to be? How big are you planning to build this thing?
Okay, so the building is going to be, it'll be probably about 1,000 square feet. 900 is our county's minimum for a building to live in. Can't be
Okay.
smaller than square feet. Uh, and with stone, you as an extra form of insulation, lots of times you'll do what's called a double wall.
Okay.
So you have an interior wall, an exterior wall, and then either airspace between it, or you can fill it with an insulation. And so I'll just be doing a single wall uh,
Okay.
because of the how small the house is, and it's going to be in the middle of the woods, so we won't be getting hit with wind. Um,
Okay.
and I'll be burning wood, so I won't be paying for my heating.
Okay. So
So it's not such a big concern for me as far as the insulation. Um, and you can always add a double wall later. Just put it on the one
y-
you built.
yeah, and are you gonna kind of maybe plan some natural cooling method or something like that with the
Uh,
basement somehow maybe?
well, yeah. The basement. What I'm gonna do is the land down there is it's all kind of cliffy. That's why the rattlesnakes,
It,
lots of cliffs, and so I'm gonna dig down till I hit cliff rock. Um, the 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 land is kind of it's a ridge on one side that drops down into a big long valley, and then it comes up on a ridge on the other side.
okay.
So on top of one of the ridges, I'll dig down till I hit the cliff rock, and then pour the basement. And then what we'll do is we'll fill it all back in with dirt, so that way it's underground. And then yeah, we'll do like I do now at my house here in town. We pull the basement air um, to help keep the air conditioner from having to be hard upstairs.
Okay. Yeah, this I've been looking into some so the way that they do some cooling with the earth ships is what I've kind of been looking at recently is that because I'm kind of going through building some structures on my land or planning them out right now. And one of the things that is interesting with how these earth ships do it is they have like a vent pipe that runs into the earth, and then they have their like little greenhouse area, and with a vent at the top of it that opens up at a certain temperature, and then you get that natural convection of the air being drawn in through the earth and then up through the building, and so it's something that I'm looking at.
Right, and I had thought about that or something similar,
Uh huh.
but I have a feeling that getting through the cliff rock would be such a massive feat.
Oh yeah.
Because the cliff is I mean the height of where the house will be relative to the bottom of the valley is probably 70.
Oh.
Um,
Oh wow.
so it'd be quite a bit of drilling
Yeah. No
to get
kidding.
down. Yeah, so
Yeah, there's a lot of people. There's some people. I know one of my friends has always wanted to have a cave house, or like build it into the side of
right,
the side of a hill, and I mean that's like heating and cooling. You don't even really need to worry about it because it's all constant temperature all the time because of the thermal mass and everything. So
right, yeah,
I'd imagine a stone house would be pretty stable as far as temperature because it's a kind of a thermal mass, so it doesn't heat or cool too rapidly, I guess, huh?
right, and the stone we'll be using will make the wall between 12 and so there'll be you know the thing is like toward the beginning of summer, you'll still be holding the cool air that winter give you for a month or two before uh, it finally works out of all that stone, and then vice versa. The end of summer, you get into winter and you're still holding heat for a little while.
Yeah. That's cool. So,
It's amazing. Like in wintertime, you feel the sun and it doesn't feel warm, but when that sun hits stone, uh, it actually does quite a bit to help to cut back on what the outside temperature may be doing.
right.
Kind of like the sun coming through a window on a winter day. It's cold outside, but the sun feels warm through the window.
Right. Yeah, so uh do you plan on doing like a traditional style roof to this thing, or how's that going to work out?
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure. Like I said, I grew up on a big farm,
Uh-huh.
and we used to do a lot of coon hunting. And whenever we'd
Uh-huh.
get back late, especially like if it had been raining and was nasty out, we'd have to sleep in the barn with the dogs because Mom wouldn't let us in. She just had the door locked. And
Wow.
yeah, but well, I used to listen to the rain hitting the metal roofs, and I loved it.
Yeah.
And so, in all reality, I think I'd like to do, a metal roof
Okay.
mainly just because of that. I love this.
Okay. So would you do like a truss style roof, or
No,
just like a
no, because
lean to type roof or something?
right, yeah, because we're gonna do a tall one story, so we're gonna have a loft, um,
Okay.
over probably about half of the total floor area. We'll have a loft. Um, so we're gonna need all that headspace. So yeah, it'll be all open.
Okay. Cool.
Try to maximize as much space as possible.
Okay, cool. And then are you just going to use wood for the roof and just do
Yeah, there's a
shingles on the
bunch.
roof?
Well,
Oh,
there's
there's
a bunch of black and white oak down on this property, and
okay.
they're really hard, strong wood. So what I'll probably wind up doing uh, is having a few of those sent off to be
Milled.
timbered down, milled, and made into trusses. So that way they can go. You can just have one on each side, kind of lean together, you know, uh, tied
Okay.
together between more wood, and keep that whole area open. And it'll be beautiful because it'll be oak.
Yeah. Cool. That's
And
that
once
sounds
again,
awesome.
other than the milling,
And then
I'll
just
cut
do
the
the
trees
metal roof.
myself. And right, yeah. So I'll have to pay for the milling and the metal roof, and then the mortar in the basement. But without
Yeah.
having to pay for the stone is what's expensive. And what's more expensive than the stone is if you're hauling it somewhere
Yeah.
because it gets real so heavy. So to
So,
have it on site is just priceless.
yeah, no kidding. Yeah, wow. That's a very unique skill. So, what got you into that? Like how did the interest in doing this start?
Um, I had lost my job and needed to work. My
Okay.
buddy owned a company. That's what he did.
Oh,
I
cool.
called him and asked him if he needed any. He said, "Yeah, absolutely."
Wow. That's awesome, man.
Started in there, and yeah, we do. Stone columns and retaining walls and foundations, house, cottage, about anything you could imagine building with rock.
That's fascinating. Wow. So what does it take to are there any specific code requirements in a stone house? Is it easy to get that signed off, a stone house signed off? Or like, are there any
Yeah.
special things that you need to do to make it a little less hassle for you?
Well, codes change so quick. I'd hate to say 100% right now, and I'll obviously check before we start in.
Right.
But a lot of the stuff will be the same with all the radon, gas stuff. We'll have to have radon testing, have a pump. The basement, the foundation, the footings underneath the basement, all that'll have to be inspected, um, and be up to code. There's minimum for the footings for how deep they are, how wide they are, how much rebar there. Uh, and then the basement walls will also have to meet code, but that's just, the forms are all the same size. Uh, You just gotta make sure you have the right kind and the right amount of rebar in. Uh,
Okay.
but after that, once you get your termite barrier up, you know, you just no the stone is such an old deal and nobody uses it anymore. Around here, I won't need another inspection until the roof,
Okay. Okay.
because there's no studs, there's no wood. All the electrical will be exposed on the inside of the building, so all those inspections after the roof's.
Well, what are you? How are you doing your floor? Is that gonna be wood, or how's that gonna work out for your
Uh,
floor for the basement
yeah. What we'll do is
first floor?
we'll pour a concrete cap and we'll cut it with the stairway.
Wow, no kidding.
Yeah, absolutely.
That is interesting. So that whole floor will be just a concrete and rebar structure then, huh?
Absolutely. Right. Yeah, it'll be a big
Oh, neat.
square fallout shelter, if you will.
Yeah, no kidding.
So,
That thing will be stout.
yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, the like I said, the seal, the roof, the basement, all that'll have to be paid for, and so for the basement for such a small structure, I mean, you're not looking at much money
Yeah.
at all. So, why not pour it?
Right.
Have that sense of safety.
Wow. Okay. So you build some stone internal walls as well, and then that helps
R-
support the concrete
right, right.
floor.
Absolutely right. Yeah, we'll pour the interior walls also, uh, and then the floor or ceiling will go on.
Oh, interesting. So is that the same way you're going to do the roof as well, or is that going to be? Uh,
No, no, the roof will just be
The wood, yeah, that's
uh
right.
right. Yeah, yeah. So like, I mean, if you ever look in like you see log cabins a lot of times with those lofts, and you look in and
You
you're
see,
like,
like
wow,
the
there's
timbers up running up on the
right,
roof.
right. Yeah, it'll be real similar.
Man, that is awesome. Yeah, I was watching some documentary about these folks in area of France, and it was like an ancient little village, and all the houses were made out of stone, and the stone houses were just stacked stone. But they're still there after, like, I don't know, maybe 600, 700 years or something like that, and they just fixed it up and have like an awesome stone house.
Yeah, and like that's what I was saying. I mean, once the stone is pulled from the earth, it never goes bad. So,
Right.
even if 1,000 years lapse, you come across these rocks, all you really got to do is pick them back up and glue them together and make a.
Yeah, that's incredible, man. That's such a neat uh that's such a neat project, man. So the property, how did you come across the property? Was this just like a
It was a listing.
okay.
I've been looking for 4 or 5 months now, and I had found one piece, had a house on it already. I really liked it, but truthfully, it was 10 acres, and about 7 of those acres were a ditch. Not real conducive to doing much with. There's such a slope to it. I mean, it was horrible.
Yeah.
So that one, the guy actually, I don't know, he thought his ditch was worth a whole lot more than what I did. I thought I was going to get it for a steal. He wanted insane. So kept looking, and then this one came up for sale at the beginning of July, and went down and looked at it. Yeah, so I mean, I got a real estate agent. It makes it so much easier.
Okay. Yeah, so they kind of knew what you were looking for and helped you find the ideal
Right,
place for you.
right. As soon as it came on market, she gave me a call. You know, at the price point that he wanted, I already knew I could afford it. It was just a matter of me trying to nickel him and him his price up. So that's where we're at now. We're in negotiation. Um,
Okay.
but I absolutely know I have the cash to buy it with where we're at right now. So,
Yeah.
um, you know, his, he said I got to get at least this much. Well, I have that much. I ain't trying to give him all my money.
Yeah. Yeah, you're trying to get
you
the
know,
best deal you can. Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah,
yeah, but
maybe
go ahead.
maybe you do a little bit of trade or something with you or something if you need to sweeten the deal or something.
Right. Yeah. So, but we're kind of we're within just $1,000 or so of one another of where we want to be. So
Oh,
we're
okay.
thinking that yeah, we're thinking by Monday or Tuesday we'll be going to sign paper. So
Man, excellent. That's awesome.
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Man, yeah, it was kind of a similar story with my property. I found it on a Craigslist ad, and I had some investments that I was able to use to pay cash for the property, and the guy had this as like a little extra piece of land, and I walk up and we do this deal with this guy. And usually, if somebody's going to meet somebody, they usually have a friend or somebody come along. But the original property owner, man, he was like a giant. He's a lumberjack and he did tree service work as a business and ran his own tree service company. And he was like Paul Bunyan. So I'm a big fella, and I think the guy was, towering over me, and his head was his head was probably as big as my thigh, a giant guy. But that's awesome, brother. That's really great. So you were raised on a farm, and it seems to be one or two ways. Like people that are raised on a farm, some people kind of don't like that, and then they move out to the city. But it seems like some people are called back to it. But I guess everybody's a little different.
Yeah, I never wanted to live in the city.
Yeah.
My ex-wife, well, she was the reason my ex. She got in a lot of trouble all the time. So
Oh
she had
yeah.
lost her driver's license and multiple DUI, and so we moved to, we moved to town for her to have the ability to be able to work.
Okay.
Not have to drive.
Yeah. So the commute's not
And
bad. Yeah.
right, so we fell apart, and so
Right.
trying to get back to my roots.
Cool. Yeah.
I
That's great.
try to, like I said, try to stay away from everything Uncle Sam. You know, and
Right.
you know, it's just when you live in the middle of the city, everybody's in everything you're doing.
Yeah, yeah. It's I never felt comfortable myself living in the city. I was just able to sell my little house that I had in town, and yeah, that's exactly right. It's like you don't have that privacy. Everybody's always looking at you. You got your neighbors right next to you, and
Well,
everything.
and when you bring 14 chickens in,
Right.
and th- three of them are roosters that know an hour before the sun comes up that everybody should be getting up to do something. Uh,
Yeah.
so, I mean, I never pulled it, but we've got people here that have, and man, it just doesn't end well for them. So,
Oh yeah, yeah. That was one thing that
you
I
know,
was doing actually. I was raising some chickens in the city, and I just had three hens for egg layers. But yeah, it's the roosters would definitely put a hitch in the giddy up in the city stuff. It would be pissing everybody off.
oh yeah, absolutely. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, Crypto Pie. I plan on planting a lot of stuff, buddy. Lots of stuff. We'll obviously we'll have our nut trees, hazelnuts and walnuts, pecans, and all those good ones.
Ah.
But we'll have fruit trees, and the Illinois where I live actually gives you a pretty good um, kickback on growing fruit trees because it helps the bees.
Oh no
Um,
way.
so yeah, so we'll have apple trees, peach trees, pear trees. About everything that can grow here. Three or
Yeah,
four of each.
yeah. We were talking a
Because
little bit last night. I was reading the Kevin Trudeau natural cures they don't want you to know about, and it's one of the things that I was reading in there was like, if you eat one apple a day, you're gonna be healthy. It's like the apple a day keeps the doctor away thing
right, and
is
while you're
true.
at it, eat the seeds in there too, because they're good for you also.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Eat the whole
Uh,
thing, core and all.
Absolutely, eat that whole thing. It's all there. It's good for.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, we'll have full garden. We'll have rhubarb, okra, carrots, potatoes. Everything that you normally would go to the store to buy. Uh,
Yeah.
we'll have a milk goat too.
Oh,
I
awesome.
don't think we drink enough and use enough milk to warrant uh, paying for and keeping care of a cow.
Yeah.
Uh, but I was raised on goat milk, uh, so I mean I
Cool.
like it, and it's fresh every day, and you don't lose any of the good stuff of
Yeah.
it
Well,
being cooked.
right. Exactly. Because that when you doesn't the raw milk, it has a lot of good. It doesn't have colostrum in it, which is like a really good immune
Oh
booster.
yeah, absolutely, and it's got like those probiotic things that exist in your gut.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
it's
there's a whole lot of good. There's a whole lot of healthy fats in there that get cooked out whenever they pasteurize and homogenize or cow milk.
yeah, yeah, and then
And not to mention goat milk it's just way healthier than cow milk.
right, it doesn't have all those growth hormones in it either. If
Well, and
you're
I
raising
know
them just on your own.
like we grew up on a big farm, and like whenever anything lost its mom and was still milking,
Yeah.
I mean it could live off of goat milk. And
Oh wow.
it was one of the big reasons we kept a milk goat as a kid was, because we had all kinds of other animals. If one of them lost their mom or just wouldn't take to their mom, well, we could feed it goat milk without trying to. You got a piglet, and I don't know if you ever met a sow, but they're not very friendly,
Yeah.
and I'd hate to try to milk one. You know, if you get a pig that's a runt,
Yeah.
that can't get a tit, then you just break out the bottle and goat milk and feed it up. It'll be fine.
Wow, that's neat. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yeah, we did it with a baby deer that my grandpa had hit the mama,
Uh
and
huh.
so it just kind of laid there. So he went and threw it in a cab, brought it over to our house, and because we had a setup for hogs there that we wasn't using,
Uh huh.
put it in that pen and fed it goat milk for about 5 or 6 weeks. And it got big. One day we went out there, it wasn't there. I guess it jumped the fence.
Oh wow. Yeah,
Yeah. But go ahead.
I was just gonna say. I imagine being raised on a farm and having all the animals and stuff gives you a lot of confidence in your in life as well as that you know how to take care of the animals and I'm guessing they got you involved in the butchering process and knowing how to do all that and where your
Oh,
food's coming from
absolutely.
and stuff too.
Well, yeah, we normally don't buy much meat now anyway, because
Okay.
my uncle, a couple other people on our have, so they have hogs. Plus we deer hunt, so
Yeah.
um,
Oh man, you
it's
guys have amazing deer hunting in Illinois, don't you?
oh yeah, absolutely. And this property I'm looking at, actually, we went out there Thursday night and saw 24 deer on the way out there,
No
mostly
kidding.
does.
Wow.
Yeah, mostly does and youngin.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, lots of deer out.
Yeah, like Ted Nugent, he says that venison is rocket fuel, and it
Hmm.
you really can't get more pure meat than venison.
Oh, right, and it's so lean.
Yeah, yeah. I like doing I like cooking it up with like some salt. You know, put it in like a salt brine first, and then uh, put it on the grill. And
Yeah, you know what I love to do with it?
oh, what'd you like?
Wrap it with bacon.
Oh yeah.
And But I'm one of those guys that everything's better with bacon.
Oh yeah, yeah, me too. Yeah.
Bacon to me is like the duct tape of the food world. You can fix anything with it.
Yeah, I was saying on the show a while back, it was like, any of the women out there that want to treat their man to something, go buy him a bacon care package.
Do they make those?
Yeah,
Because if they
man.
don't,
Yeah. Yeah, one of my girlfriends, she sent me one she's from Wisconsin, and she sent me something from a place called Newski's, and they have those. They have bacon care packages, and you can send one to somebody, and they have all types of different bacons, different smoked flavors and different kind of things, and it was pretty amazing.
yeah, oh yeah, you can't go wrong with that.
Yeah, man. So, ladies, if you're looking for, anniversary
Yeah.
gifts or whatever,
Hey,
there you go.
hey, ladies. Yeah, right. Exactly.
Yeah, so I see that you got some black wild berry or blackberries that you picked recently in one of your posts, and you guys made some
Oh,
jam out of them, huh?
oh yeah. We try we try to do everything we can to make the stuff that we can. So we don't have to go to the store. So
Yeah,
yeah, wild blackberries over the store bought ones because they taste better, and they're grown in the. I mean, these are deep forests that we hunt them, and so you got all the everything that falls in the woods, contributing to what's in the soil. So you get a lot of trace elements and minerals that you wouldn't get out of something grown in water.
right.
That's just on a farm being sprayed.
Exactly. Yeah, with all the glyphosate and everything. So,
Right.
yeah, get
Right.
the
And
pure
it
stuff.
just seems unnatural to me that everything in the world wants to make more of it, wants to produce and reproduce, and they make blackberries that don't have seeds, watermelon without seeds. I
Wow.
don't know. To me, it seems like if you're taking the ability for that plant to make life, if you're taking that away from it, you're taking away its ability for it to sustain life as well. Something's missing, you know. Uh,
Right.
and like I said, the seeds are so important. Like that jam, we don't take the seeds out.
Uh huh.
I smash that jam until I don't hear seeds popping.
Yeah, yeah. I learned from there's this Doctor Bradford Weeks, and I was listening to a podcast. I'm a really big fan of Ernest Hancock, and he has a podcast, Declare Your Independence, and he had Dr. Bradford Weeks on one time, and he stressed the importance of the anti-inflammatory properties of eating frozen seeds, because they have like all the essential enzymes and everything when you freeze the seeds, and you can put them in like a smoothie or something like that, and then you get all the really good antioxidant, anti-inflammatory properties from those seeds. So, yeah, just like what you're saying, it's important to eat the seeds too.
Right, absolutely. And like we had said, we had talked about the other day, peaches and apricots have vitamin B17 in them. Uh,
Yeah,
we throw away the best parts of everything that we eat, and you know, we should probably think twice about that.
yeah, yeah. That was another thing that G. Edward Griffin wrote a book on that in the conspiracy of hiding the fact that that vitamin B17 it it carries the seeds carry a cyanide component to them, and the cancer cells, they don't create an enzyme to block that cyanide component, so it like directly targets those cancer cells and can blow them up, while your healthy
Oh, right.
cells create an enzyme to block that component. But everybody's afraid. They say cyanide, you're like, whoa, hold on.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, you can grind the pit. You don't have to necessarily eat the hard outside of it. The inside
Right.
seed of the pit is what you're looking for. And yeah,
Yeah.
you can. I mean, you can. You could grind it. You could dry it out. You could eat it wet. But Also, you don't want to overdo it. Like we'd said, just like you can drink too much water and kill yourself.
Yeah,
Too much
exactly.
of
Yeah,
anything
you
can be
don't want to
bad. So
consume a truckload of seeds.
right, yeah. So like if you eat a peach, eat the pit with it, but don't save up 40 or 50 pits and eat them all at one time.
Yeah,
You know.
So Peachy Mod says, I don't think the blender would survive that. So yeah, you can
Well,
you could just grate it or something with like a grater or something like that, or
right. Well,
any
the
way you can
inside.
just shave it up.
Well, the way I do like the peach pits and apricot pits is I just take a hammer, or you can take like a walnut, like a nutcracker,
Oh, okay.
and you can crack that, and on the inside is a really soft, meaty tissue, and you can just chew that thing up and eat it.
Oh, cool. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
Yeah, and
go eat your
they
seeds, folks.
right, absolutely.
Yeah, that's great, man. That's cool that that you know about that. That's something I've been learning, and it's just another great benefit for being able to grow your own food, as well as as being able to save those seeds as well, and
Right,
figuring out
yeah,
what works the best in your own property.
right, and I would even recommend that, like us starting out, we won't be using any seed stock that's from anything that you store.
Yeah,
The amount of genetic manipulation, the susceptibility to single diseases, all these things are made by companies like Monsanto, which are
yep,
controlled by our government. So, just like all of our corn that we grow across the entire United States, while there are some substrains, it's all the same basic strain. They call it dimple corn. Um,
yeah.
and at the end of the corn, it dimples in whenever it dries out. If
Okay.
you're growing that kind of corn, you should probably grow uh,
Right,
because
because then those
it's a
genetics get mixed in with your native stuff or whatever, and
right. And
it can
yeah, and the problem with those is because the DNA is so similar. It'd only take one strand of the right type of fungus or anything, and the entirety of the corn crops could be killed. So
yeah.
I would stick with like with a sweet corn or a maize or something a little closer to what we had before our scientists got a hold.
Yeah, the weird thing about corn is you can't really digest it, can you? You
Well,
digest
in
the
its
sugars
form,
out of it, but like the whole
right, and
parts and
it's
stuff, you can't really
right, and it's in
digest.
right in its form. As you pick it, you can't. And the Indians understood that. That's why they didn't eat raw corn. They beat it into a bread.
Yeah,
Um, they destroyed that fibrous outside that prevents us from getting to the good stuff on the inside.
yeah,
So yeah, if you process it a little bit, or allow it to ferment, uh, that
yeah.
fibrous stuff will break down, and yeah, you can get the nutritious part out of it. But I believe that corn's probably a lot healthier than eating bleached wheat.
Flour.
You know,
Yeah,
oh yeah,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
bread to me is one of those. I think you should really just eat it in moderation,
yeah, yeah.
especially the white breads.
Yeah, exactly. I learned something that pretty much all U.S. wheat is heavily glyphosated. So, especially if you're looking at the processed wheat, because they try to spray that with Roundup real quick to help increase the yield. Because as the plant dies, it tries to, do one
One
final last push, and so it can increase their yields. But it's just like packed full of that Roundup, and now Monsanto's getting sued, and actually some people are being successful with that, and so I hope to see that people really take it to them because Roundup is such an evil thing
Oh, any
in our food system.
yeah. I mean, all those. There's a whole lot of natural get rid of about anything that you could get on any plant.
Yeah, when you do the
So
permaculture way, it's all about trying to get beneficial insects in there to help take care of your pest control and things, and then trying to use organic pest control methods. I talked to Breezin on here a while back, and she's a farmer in South Africa, and she gave her recipe for one of her recipes for pest control. I believe it was like concoction of like garlic and really hot peppers, which she said
oh
works pretty
yeah, I'll
good.
tell you. Yeah, if yeah, just organic cayenne pepper. That by
Yeah.
itself will deter about 80% of anything that we get on a rose bush.
Wow. Yeah.
So yeah, yeah. When I was a little bit younger, we used to use it to keep deer away from our outdoor pot plants.
Oh
And the
yeah. Yeah.
and the raccoons. Um,
Oh
and
cool.
yeah, so we also after that found out that what we'd do is we'd put a circle around each one, and it just kind of seemed like nothing would cross that circle.
Oh really? Like a
Yeah,
sprinkling
even
of
after
the cayenne pepper around the things
all the
that.
way around it, right?
Okay.
Even after like a few rains, I guess it just so saturates the soil
Okay. Hey, I'm gonna do
that
that on,
we
on my property because I planted a bunch of fruit trees. Now, I got a bunch of deer coming through there, and they haven't devastated my fruit trees from what I've seen so far, but I know they will or they can, and
right.
so I'll
Well,
probably, yeah, I'm gonna do that.
if it's already a problem, it may not help. We when you really need to do it's when you plant something. Deer,
Okay.
as they forage, they sniff the ground. Uh,
Okay.
so if they happen to be coming around whatever you have growing that you don't want to mess in, chances are they'll be sniffing around, and they'll get a hit of that cayenne pepper and they'll leave. Uh,
Okay.
but with your trees being there and established and already having the problem, they know they're there, so they're probably not sniffing around as they head that way.
Well, I haven't noticed any nibbling or anything on the trees
Oh, I see.
so far yet. Uh,
I see.
So maybe I can avoid it with the
Something,
cayenne pepper trick.
something that do you put soap on them?
I haven't really done anything to them yet. It's kind of
Yeah.
I planted them and kind of
So
walked away from them actually. So
your best bet for those will. I worked at Eckert's Orchard, which is it's an apple orchard. I mean, hundreds of acres of apples.
okay.
Um, and what they would do is they would take a bar of ivory soap and they
Hmm.
would poke a hole in it, and then they would just one of them on each tree, hang it from a branch on the outside of it, and for whatever reason, keeps the deer away.
Oh wow, that's
Yeah.
cool.
So they'd stick a wire through it and hang it so it was 3 or 4 feet off the ground. Uh, I mean that was the only thing they used.
Okay, yeah. I'm all the ideas I can get for that because I
Right.
spent some good time. I found a good local source to buy in some rootstock fruit trees and I'd planted like pecans and pears and plums and some apples and it was a couple of years ago when I got them going, and then I also planted some black locust trees because I learned that you can just chop and drop those things, and then you can cut the tops right off, and then just keep growing back up, so you can have like pretty much a constant wood supply with the black locust tree, and it's
Oh yeah,
also like a
they're
good nitrogen fixer too.
right, absolutely, and uh, they're a beautiful wood.
Oh, really?
Oh, they're the grain in them is so beautiful.
Oh, cool.
Plus, uh, next to yellow hedge, it's one of the best trees for making a homemade bow.
Oh, no kidding.
Extremely hard, but super flexible. Retains its shape after being pulled a bunch of. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, cool. I got another buddy on here that beat King 13 on Steam. He's a custom longbow maker. He was an interesting character, man. He's ex NASA engineer and then turned music producer and like produced like Ludacris and like a bunch of these rap artists and stuff. And then he's also a carpenter I got into carpentry and bow making.
Yeah, I actually. Oh, my dogs fight. Uh,
Oh no.
yeah, I got a buddy who that's it's like that's his thing. He does bow shooting competition, makes his own bows.
Oh, that's awesome, man. Yeah, I got into bow hunting probably about 5 years ago with my dad, and man, it's a blast. It's tough, but it's a lot of fun going and shooting arrows and stuff.
Yeah, I don't have the patience for it. And as
It's
as
tough, man.
as
It's
far
tough.
as far as having to be 20 yards away from a deer to kill one, I mean, I mean, give me my crossbow.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. My
Uh,
dad,
I,
my dad's
I'm
getting to that
trying.
point where he's just like, man, I want the crossbow. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to feed my family. I'm not trying to prove anything. I just, the thing is, in Illinois, we're an extremely gun regulated state.
Oh yeah, because of
So
Chicago,
if yeah, so if I want to go,
the
if I
blight
want to
of
go
Illinois.
shoot a deer, if if I want to go shoot a deer, first of all, my gun season is 3 different weekends a month apart, and that's it. So there's no like you get a week to go. No, you got 3 weekends that are about a month apart, and one of them's in the middle of January,
Uh huh.
and it's just not pleasant. Or you can go bow hunting and crossbow, and they give you about 2.5 months of any day during those 2.5. So it's not very welcoming.
Yeah,
And then on top you got to have a FOID card, and you got to have all your guns ready. You
yeah.
got to buy deer tags, and it's such a nice.
You might be interested in getting yourself a ghost gunner. It's a benchtop CNC mill, and you can make your own um you know un unregistered lowers or whatever. Uh,
Interesting.
and
I've been
they
looking into. I have a feeling that the thing is if the government ever wants to really stop us with uh, with firearms, uh, I
yeah.
believe they won't do it with regulating guns or necessarily even bullets. I think they'll do it with the primer, which
Yeah,
is
that was
gonna
a big
really.
discussion that I had with a guest a couple weeks ago. Kodak's big Second Amendment guy, and he actually he does his own. He makes his own guns too, and he does his own gunsmithing and with 3D printing and milling and stuff. And so he talked about that. He said that the primer caps probably regulate the primer caps or get rid of them or something.
Right, absolutely. And the thing is, yeah, anymore, I mean, I know how to make gunpowder. It's not that hard.
But the
Uh,
primer cap is a
but
tough thing.
right, but I mean, even if I was to go, because I got a muzzle loader and a 50 cal
Yeah.
rifle, but I mean, the gunpowder to make it, I mean, I don't think I could make it clean fire in these because they're not old authentic guns. They're reproduced, and they need the clean gunpowder for fire. So I mean that doesn't really even do much. So
Yeah.
uh, out
Yes.
here,
Yeah. So Nate says you can't even have a bolt gun in Illinois. They make it
yeah. Oh God, no.
they make it difficult.
Yeah. I mean,
Oh
I guess
wow.
you can as long as you don't let too many people know.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So what Kodak's was saying was he thinks that the air rifles are going to become a lot bigger thing too. Um, is because you don't have to worry about the primer caps there.
There you go. That's my I did on my buddy that.
Oh, neat. Yeah, that was how it was the show with Kodaks where you were tuning in and you dropped some of your neat projects down on us and so this is bow making flint napping. What's flint napping? Is that just
That's
creating like arrowhead kind of things and stuff?
yeah, exactly, exactly.
Okay, neat. That's awesome, man. So you've done a lot of different uh, like survivalist kind of bushcraft skills too, huh?
Um, I I mean, this may sound bad, but um, I don't hang around much people that don't have something to offer when
Yeah, yeah,
because it's coming,
yeah,
and I believe
exactly,
it'll be
yeah.
in my lifetime. So I don't have much time to hang out on Facebook and give people ups stuff like you know.
Exactly. Yeah, I have the same ethos. It's it's at some point, man, you got to let that stuff go and focus on what you're gonna do to take care of yourself and your family and your loved ones. Because I do hold the same sentiments as that. Prepare for the worst, but hope for the best. Um, I
Right.
I hope this whole thing doesn't completely fall apart, but the way the trajectory that things are heading on, and the way that people are still not getting it is concerning.
Yeah, yeah, it's not getting any better.
Right? Yeah. And the whole thing, everything that happened economically in 2008, none of that crap got fixed. So how the heck things are going to shake out, I don't know. But I'm probably not that great. So,
Yeah, see my buddy? See his beard? It's almost as nice as yours.
oh
Almost.
yeah, wow.
Yeah.
Rock on, man.
Right, man.
Cool.
Yeah. That's
Sweet.
Tony. He I mean, I'll tell you what.
He can do just about
He
anything, huh?
Oh yeah, yeah. He works with us with all this stone stuff too.
Oh,
So
cool.
and he's got a great personality and a great view of the world. He keeps it simple.
Yeah, that's right. And we were kind of talking about what true wealth is when we were talking the other night, and in my opinion, true wealth is having skills and having relationships with good people, and your time with your family and the people that you really care about.
Right. Yeah. Well, and that's what we all do. We all only have so much time, and you know, we're taught that what we're supposed to do is trade our time a certain amount of money,
Right.
based on what we think we're worth.
Yeah, for these
And
fake paper squares.
right, absolutely, that in the end don't mean anything. Um, you know, we're taught that we're supposed to do it through all the regulation and taxing and so on. And I just try to do what I can to not be a part of that system.
Yeah. Um.
To steer clear. You know, the farm I grew up on, when we needed a hand, we went to the neighbor, and the neighbor gave us a hand, and then we helped them back when they needed help.
Yeah.
Nobody went to the government, or I mean, nobody left our road. We had
Right.
about 8 neighbors within 10 or 15 miles, and we all had farms, and we all took care of one another. So
Exactly. Yeah, I think there's something to
yeah,
do about psychology, about being more, having more space between each other and stuff too. And then, when you're in
oh
when you are in a rural area, it's tough. It's you gotta try to look out for each other because there's not a whole lot of other people around to keep an eye out on things. So when you're in kind of a rural community, everybody kind of has to kind of come together a little bit.
right, and it, you know when everybody knows everybody, and
Yeah, it's
everybody's working together,
harder to
nobody
get
wants to
away
see
with
anybody.
stuff too.
Right. Well, and nobody wants to see anybody fail because everybody's got a piece at stake. You know what I mean? So, yeah, maybe our combine's better than theirs, but they got a well that never runs dry, and ours does if it doesn't rain for 3 or 4. Yeah, I mean, so everybody's got that piece, and hell, if somebody takes off or goes, who knows what you're gonna get. And so, there was a sense of, nobody wanted it to change because everybody was taking care of everybody.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, kind of.
Yeah, and I think like, us not being stacked on top of each other, like, like they do in the, you got people on literally 4, 5, 6 sides of you in these big, tall apartments. Uh,
Right.
and there's no sense of individualism. Everybody's always down your neck. You make too much noise, you're going to get in trouble.
Yep.
You can't go out and you can't have a campfire, roast some wieners, and make some marshmallows or s'mores, and there's no sense of nothing's really truthfully yours, and everybody's constantly in your bubble.
Yeah, and a lot of these things, these city planners, I kind of got into some of this. I was looking to get involved with my local city council and actually give a run for the local city council at one point. And one of the things that I was looking into, some more libertarian or more freedom policies, was city planning and how that city planning actually really devastates the cities as well, because they create these projects that nobody really wants, like these these multi-use what the mixed use things where they can kind of put like these apartments in with the shopping and all this kind of stuff, and like they plan all this out, and then nobody goes to these areas because there's not adequate parking and different kind of things, or they'll cut the street off so that you can't have parking in the streets and you can only do pedestrian walking, and then nobody wants to go because everybody loves driving their cars, and so the planning just like they can't keep up with the trends. And so that was one thing that I learned, is that when you have that interference and you don't let the markets decide how the things should play out in the city, then you get all these like really dumb ideas, and it ends up kind of looking like Soviet Russia.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I'm actually kind of caught up in one now. They call it a TIF program,
Tax incremental
something.
financing. Yeah,
You're right. So like
that's pretty much theft.
yeah, so like I'm a part of the section of town that's included in this TIF program, and the thing is like it works out great if I have a bunch of money and I want to rehab one of the worn down nasty buildings uptown and turn it into a business. That's great. I get a bunch of tax-free crap. But because I'm in this TIF area, my taxes went up because I'm a homeowner.
Right.
Like for
Yeah.
the last 5 years, they've went
And
every
they're real
single year.
sneaky about that too, because they just pass it without getting a whole lot of input from the public too. So they just kind of
Right. Well, they had one
pass it
town
on.
hall meeting. Normally, our town hall meetings are the first Tuesday of every month. They had one town hall meeting the third Tuesday of the month at like 9 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. How
the
about
people
that?
that showed up, the people that yeah, the people that showed up then voted for it, so it got passed. And
Yeah, they do
yeah,
stupid crap like that all the
we've
time. Yeah.
had we've had 4 companies. One was a steakhouse, one was a bar, and 2 of them was a couple of retail stores. One of them was like a secondhand store. Uh, that these people went in there, put all this money in these businesses, and they just flopped. Now the buildings are empty again.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's one of those deals. If they wouldn't have thought the government handout was that great and everything, they'd have never put themselves in a position. They wouldn't be where they're at now. But
Yeah,
I don't know.
I confronted some of our city council members and got in there. I wish I had recorded it while I was in the city of
Oh,
Huntsville.
yeah,
Uh,
you should have absolutely. You should record every interaction that you have with our public servant.
with a public official, yeah, and
Well, I wouldn't call him official.
yeah,
That's being
exactly,
awful gracious of you.
right, exactly, yeah, our serves, yeah, and they
Yes.
should be our servants, and if you consider government has any legitimacy whatsoever, but they should be your servants and not your masters. But people treat them as if they're all these almighty city council, and give them some respect, but they actually don't deserve any of that respect because they're pretty much parasites on the system,
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
in my
So,
opinion.
so, So did you have any luck whenever you confronted them?
So I got into their face about the tax incremental financing about being theft, and they're like, it's not theft. We're putting that in the educate. We're taking money out of the. We have a balanced budget, and we're taking some money from the education fund to fund these extra things or whatever. And I was like, so raising taxes without public input is, you don't believe that's not, you don't believe that's not theft, and they just looked at me all bewildered, pretty much, and I was just like,
and that's because they have a view that, your money is their money if they need it. It's for the
well,
bigger cause.
exactly. That's the excuse that was kind of given to
They're,
me. It was like, we're going to be
well,
using this to do X projects and these great things for the community. Well, it's like, who says that that's a great thing for the community? And
right, and well, that's that inherently is one of the big flaws with with us as humankind or man, woman, whatever. Is we tend to see our ideas as the best possible idea, no matter what, and they look at it like, I was elected, everybody must think I'm the best, so why not just listen?
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So speaking of your community, kind of centeredness, growing up on the farm and everything, you've brought that to the blockchain as well. You have your own little project that I think is really neat. That you help support the new people to Steam it, and you have a little doer minnow project. If you want to
Yeah,
talk about that a little bit.
yeah, which I'll say it now because I'm going to be saying it anyway. But it's not doer, it's doer.
Oh, okay.
Which, yeah, so like a John Doe.
Oh, okay,
But
gotcha. Yeah, sorry about that.
but it seems no. Everybody thinks it's doer, and
Yeah.
I get a lot of. Well, you sure are a doer. You're always doing something. So
Right.
I kind of flow with it either way. But so
Yeah.
as I say it, I'll be saying doer minnows.
Double
So
meaning, yeah. Double meaning, yeah.
yeah, so it goes either way. But yeah. So when I started this out, and first of all, I would love to give a huge shout out to Steam Monsters and Yabamat and AgroD, because without them and what they've done, I would have never. I would have been able. It wouldn't have been as quick getting the Doer minnows off the ground.
Yeah.
So I play 15 Steam Monster accounts, um,
Oh, wow.
and so through those earnings, the cards, the handouts they give, contest I won.
Yeah.
I was able to raise enough steam to basically sell everything I had Steam Monsters except for one deck,
Uh-huh.
and then I dumped that into SP so that way I'd be able to support
Oh, wow.
my minnow.
That's
So
really neat.
yeah, so I started over with my one deck. I'm nowhere near where I was at before.
Yeah.
But I'm
Got to
working
grind it
back
out
up.
again.
Right, exactly. But yeah, so what we were doing in the beginning, we were taking people who were close to minnowhood at 500, anywhere from 250 to 400 SP, and we would adopt them into our program, get them hooked up in our Discord, and then we would show them support, help them, in any way that we could with duration, upvote.
Yeah,
Like I
just
said,
kind of
I've got
get him familiar with this platform and stuff.
right. Well, at the time, most of these guys were people who had been around long enough that they got it.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
but with Steam dropping, their vote values had also dropped, and at the time, my fear was losing more people off of Steam.
Right.
So I was trying to just grab as many of them I could and say, hey, no, we'll get you to middlehood, we'll get you back to where your vote a few cents.
Yeah.
So what I would do is I would delegate anywhere from 150 to 3
Yeah.
to each one of these accounts, and then support them in all the ways we could. I offered Steam Monster account play to help them grow their account.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
And
very cool.
and
Yeah.
then, right, and then we had this last hard fork, and my attention kind of shifted. Uh, a great steamian here at Simply Mike. Um, she
Yeah.
told me she told me about how the new guys can't interact because of the RC situation.
Right.
So what I did is I got all my minnows that I had left, got them all up to 500 as quick as I could, dumped a bunch of SP into it to get them there, and that way we could shift our focus on our new guys. Um, so what we do now is we find new guys. I mean, I don't care if they've been here a day and they just did an introduction post, or if they've been here 5 or 6, 7 weeks, because it takes forever to grow when you're new.
Yeah.
Um, and I delegate SP to them, and same thing. I'll offer them. I got 15 Steam Monster accounts, so you know, any one of them are free to play. They just let me know, hit me in a DM, and they earn their dark energy crystals and their cards. One of my last guys, he played for 16 days,
Yeah.
and he was able to earn more than $10, and he got him his own starter pack. So now he has his own Steam Monster account that he gets to use, and he's still playing one of our accounts too. But yeah, he's
Wow, that's
almost
really
to
cool, man.
yeah, he's almost to his 50 SP also. So I think he's at 47 points. Um, when he hits 50, I'll cut my delegation in half, and then when he hits 75, I'll take it away, and we'll go help another guy.
Find a new person.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's real easy to do.
Yeah, man, that's a
Actually,
really creative way of helping people out on the platform.
right. And I can't. I ain't gonna say. I can't just disinclude Drug Wars. It's kind of the same deal there. 15 accounts.
Yeah, I saw you made a
I don't.
post about that. I kind of walked away from that. I was playing it for a little bit, and then they were doing some things with their future tokens, and the Steam payments or whatever kind of went away, and then I kind of walked away from it, and I came back to it recently and realized that I just saw all those future tokens wiped away, and I guess I didn't claim them or something, and so it's like a brand new game now.
Yeah, and there was a whole lot of negativity around that, but I can't say I have had known him for a long time, but High Touch and Zen Art after she got involved,
Uh-huh.
you know, a lot of DMing, and after you kind of get a feel for what the guy's a dreamer. I mean,
Yeah.
he dreams so damn big, and then I mean, it's hard to fill. And
Yeah.
I decided that with the type of vision he had and what he wanted to do, not just for Drug Wars, but for Steam It by onboarding and allowing logging in with Facebook and all these other different.
Yeah, that's pretty neat.
I mean, he really wants to help, and hell, we all make mistakes, we all screw up, we all mess up. But one thing I think a lot of people forgot or didn't think about, or just let their own selfishness come in the way of, is, I mean, it's a damn beta game. A game
Right.
that's in a beta mode.
Right.
I mean, if you expect anything out of that, I mean, at all, I think you're setting yourself up for being let down.
Right. Right.
Because I mean, Steam Monsters ain't no different. You could invest money and lose your ass. They could change the rules, and they did. I mean, cards get powered up, cards get powered down. But
Yeah.
now you got legendary summoners that unless you spend another $1,000 on all these legendary summoners and leveling them up, you're never going to be a top guy.
Yeah.
But it's their game. Let them run it how they want it. It'll be a success or it won't.
Right.
And just enjoy playing it. I mean, hell, when I got here, there
Right.
wasn't a
That's what it's
single
all
game to
about,
play.
is if you actually enjoy playing the game. Yeah.
Right. When I got here, there wasn't a single game that I was aware of on the Steam blockchain, that was anywhere near as well put together as either one of those two.
Yeah, I was
I mean,
kind of drawn to the Steam Monsters because it kind of reminds me of Magic the Gathering. I was a Magic the Gathering player back in the day.
right, and truthfully, they're both handing out a whole lot. From Drug Wars, I mean, here's the split and the difference. So with Steam Monsters, I get Steam and cards and DEC that are liquid that I can instantly trade out for something on Steam Engine. I can buy SP. I can hand it out. I can give cards out. I can hand the deck out to people.
Yeah.
I can do whatever I want. And on Drug Wars, what I've got is I have the ability to take 15 or 20 seconds of my time for each of those accounts and post on their BB token forum, and I get upvote, so I get SP.
Yeah.
And on a daily, each day I get I don't know, probably 6 or 7 SP across all those accounts.
Oh wow.
But when you've been doing that
Not too
for
bad.
6 months, yeah, it's actually my main account. It's brought my main account up from 4,100 to 4,270 in SP.
Yeah.
And that's just on them. Like I said, I hit post to the forum, and then they upvote me 20 minutes later.
Wow.
Is it spammy or whatever? I don't know. I don't care.
Yeah.
Steam has got a lot bigger problems than that.
Yeah.
And if that's their way of saying thanks to all the people who are being loyal to them,
Right.
like I said, it's their game. If the chain couldn't support it or didn't want it, it'd be banned or disallowed, or they'd fix it in a hard form. So, like I said, I think there's a lot bigger issues. People,
Yeah.
it kind of was one thing whenever they were, it was everything was being posted as a post. But now it's like a comment, so it's not anything hitting trending,
Right.
doesn't really matter, if you wanted to hit it with a bunch of upvotes or whatever, or I don't know, it's just a comment. So
Yeah, it's a neat way to kind of incentivize players, and the games are another attractor. Maybe you don't like to blog, maybe you don't want to blog that day, maybe you would just want to play the game and just have a little mental relax time or something.
yeah,
Yeah.
which that's here lately with all this farm stuff and a few other things going on in my life. Like I just looked today, hell, it'd been 13 days since I'd posted anything, and I thought
Right.
it'd been maybe a week.
Right.
Time flies. But
It
I got
does.
I got the people in the Meadows that play the Steam Monster accounts, and like I said, it takes about 20 minutes for me to run through all the drug war accounts, and it's non-thinking, simple
Right.
work, and I can normally do that while I'm laying in the bathtub,
Right.
kind of multitasking.
Yeah, yeah, it would be cool to even have it on your phone and be able to do those little things on there.
Oh yeah, well that's all I do. That's all I
Oh,
have,
cool.
really. Oh yeah, I got me waterproof, unbreakable phone. So
Nice.
I got a laptop, but like I said last night, it's so old that I don't really think it supports like a microphone or headphones. So
Yeah, we ran
me
into
and
that
my
problem last
yeah,
night.
me and my technology are
Yeah,
definitely not up to par with probably anybody. So
yeah,
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 it is what it is.
yeah, yeah. Well, you're doing pretty good, man. With all the projects that you got going on with Steam It and everything, and
Yeah, truthfully, I'm amazed I have a thumbprint left, as much as I scroll that screen.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Do you have the whatever the neck issue, or when you're looking down at your phone all the time?
No, because lots of times I lay down with it above me
Ah, okay.
while I'm doing I just
I
look up at it.
I heard that's a new thing that people are getting, is that their necks are actually the bones in their necks are actually getting are changing shape because of the
Oh, I bet.
staring down at their phones too much.
Yeah, well, maybe it's not a bad thing. It's just our next step of evolution.
Everybody's got a crick neck.
Yeah, well, what I think what they're going to find is everybody that has that new evolutionary pattern are
Yeah.
going to be getting hit by cars.
Oh wow. Yeah, we just had Team Humble join us, and Sunravel Me said that cell phone elbow is a thing that people are developing now. I
Cell
didn't
phone
know
elbow.
cell phone elbow. I don't know how do you do a cell
Is it
phone
is it
elbow? Is that because you're holding your
is
cell
it like
phone and you
tennis?
got your elbow down?
Right, is it like tennis elbow? I wonder.
I guess so. Yeah.
Like a tendon, like a tendon problem.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, probably. And the team at Humble says growing horns. New research suggests that teens are sprouting horns at the base of their neck. Yeah, that's what I was talking about.
And it's
Weird.
likely to grow along. So yeah,
Weird.
yeah. Evolution, man.
Yeah. You and cell phone elbow was you lean so hard on your elbow when you're on your phone. Weird. Oh man.
Yeah, and give it 5 years, we'll have pills for both these problems.
Yeah, no kidding.
It won't be put the phone down more often. It'll be just take this pill and it'll alleviate your symptoms.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so Team Humble says, look at your pinky finger for holding your phone, and yeah, I have a callus that's kind of built up on how I rest my phone on my pinky finger. Yeah.
Oh my God, I do too. It's about half of my pinky actually. It's the whole top nub and halfway down that second joint. It's crazy.
Oh man.
I mean, I had noticed it before, but I thought it was from work. I
Yeah.
guess this one's not.
Yeah, I got a little callus spot there going now. Huh. Yeah.
Interesting.
The bone has gone down. Weird. Oh, wild. That's wild, man. Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, interesting the chat. Yeah, Sunravel Me says that there's a nerve that goes through your funny bone and then it gets pinched and it can make half your hand go numb. Yeah. Dang, yeah, we're all transforming into
Look, there's the horn.
augmented human beings here. Yeah,
Yeah.
weird. Horns in the back of their skull. That's kind of
Wow.
demonic, isn't it?
Well, I don't know. Sometimes I think I wouldn't mind having a couple of horns to keep people away from me.
Yeah, don't get too close.
Right?
You might get spiked.
Right.
So, so yeah, you kind of get to leave a kind of an independent contractor lifestyle, huh?
Yeah, I try. My fiance, she works in the medical, so I still have to. I still have to hear about it and partake in it and deal with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, once we because right now, we got a house note and electric bill and all those fun things. So,
Yeah.
but we'll be paying cash for this farm, so once the house is built and we get moved out there, we'll no longer have a mortgage.
Yeah, that's a big payment off your plate per month.
Yeah, well, when I met her, she did warehouse work, and we decided that she was gonna, she wanted to make something of her life. So we just, we talked about it. She decided she wanted to do medical stuff. So she put herself through college, stuck with it, did it, got out in the field. She's been doing it a little over a year now, and that's all it took her to realize that my lifestyle is way better than.
Right. Instead
And
of
so now
doing
she's
the whole
she's
rat
like-
race thing.
She's like, I just don't want to go to work. I just not like I do.
Right.
Like it's just too much with the corporate people, and it's the medical world.
Yeah.
You're dealing with the doctors and the government and regulation.
Oh yeah, my buddy, one of my buddies is a orthopedist and a prosthetics guy, and then they have trouble with insurances all the time, and then how they get their get paid for their services and different things like that. And it's just like, yeah, the whole medical system has become a pretty big nightmare for the people that even work in it. So, and
Oh yeah, she comes home ready to cry sometimes, just from
yeah,
dealing with and it's not like anyone's mean to her. It's just like just the sheer amount of patients that are being forced to be pushed doctors off.
yeah,
She works in a small office. There's one doctor, and I think they have one or two physician's assistants, and I mean it's nothing for them to push over 100.
wow,
Uh,
yeah,
yeah, which when you do the math, that equals minutes of with the doctor.
yeah,
And she's go ahead.
yeah, and one of my buddies, his wife went to school to become a doctor, and the amount of student loans you have to take to do that even is just ridiculous. And then it goes on forever. And then their insurance, you think that they're going to make a lot of money, but like, man, once they have to pay all their liability insurances and all that stuff, they don't make nothing.
Right.
And then their
Well, yeah,
taxes, they get taken out too.
and she started out just she went through and did it to get to be a medical assistant with limited radiology, and
Mm,
hell, that set us back like 30 something thousand.
yeah.
And initially, the plan was like that was a starting point, and go from there. And now she's in it, and this. She's like, this is horrible.
Oh yeah, yeah. And
So I think she's more looking forward to the farm and being free.
living in a different lifestyle than the
Right.
traditional one that people are, think you have to have all this career and all this stuff to be successful and all that.
Right. Yeah, like like I tell a lot of people, I have a 20-year-old daughter who she she's responsible, has a good set of morals to her,
Yeah.
and she's a good person. And
Right.
yeah, a lot of people will say a part of her success is the fact that she's in college, she has a full-time job, she's a manager position at a highly successful retail company. Uh, I mean that's all nice and an added bonus, and hopefully she'll walk away from all that someday.
Yeah.
But I always say that my measure of my success while I'm here will be what my children are when I'm because
Right.
man, if we don't if we
They're
don't raise
that little light that can help bring more light into the darkness, I think, in the world.
absolutely, man. We can do anything in our lives, and truthfully, after I die, after you die, after a whole lot of people die, in 100 years, nobody will remember.
Right.
No one.
Yeah.
But their children will still be their grandchildren, and
Yep.
that'll be their legacy, and it'll be my legacy.
Right.
And I just
Yeah.
focus my life on doing. I try to be a positive example of my kids. I try to walk the walk that is the talk that I talk.
Yeah, yeah,
So
that's the only thing you can do, and that's what people give people and actually listen to what you have to say is when you can actually show people what your philosophy is. I believe.
I like that, Katie.
Yeah,
True.
exactly. Yep, really does, and it's I think we're all in the people that are here have that ability to lead by example and to just like you said when times get tough to help out your neighbors and to be that example for other people so that people are more gravitated toward what you got going on and want to emulate you.
Right. Exactly. And I think as far as we're stuck in, I mean, you can't change the world yourself. Um,
But you
but
can change
when
your world.
right, right, and I think that a whole lot of people think, well, what can I do? Or, well, yeah, if I do that, it doesn't really matter. But man, I have. I have stopped and just given somebody a smile and known that it's changed their day. And
Oh yeah.
the littlest things can mean so much more than doing a year's worth of work. So,
Yeah.
if I'm heading
Making somebody
somewhere
laugh
and
if they're having a crappy day is such a
right,
big thing.
right, yeah, I mean, it's nothing for me to be late on the regular because I'll see somebody that just needs uplift, a hug, and telling somebody that there are people that care about
Yeah.
can change lives, and that can change. So, I don't want anybody ever thinking, that they're not important enough or not, not big enough, rich enough, or whatever to be
Yeah.
able to make a positive change.
Oh yeah, and yeah, we all have that divine spark inside of all of us that is tied to. We're all connected, and one of the things is that one of the guys I really enjoy following is Max Egan, and he, I think he carries over a saying. I can't remember. It might have been from the Lakota Indian tribe. It's the saying is in Lakesh, which is I am another yourself, and we're all just part of this whole big thing, kind of tied together. And if we kind of can look at our fellow man and just realize that we're all part of this thing together and support each other, then we can move in a better direction. And, Team Humble just posted locals greater than global. Simple to bring it up to date. Be the ledger block you want to see in the world. Amen.
Right. Yep, absolutely. Yeah, I think global is only good if you're speaking about a collective conscience. Other than that, the bigger things are, that
Yeah.
the worse it is. The more.
Yeah, yeah, and I believe we are a lot more powerful than people think because if you focus on the world that you wish to see, and you put away the other distractions, you will begin to manifest that reality. And
Oh
so,
yeah, absolutely. It's where it's how I got where I'm at now.
yeah,
You know, I'm real simply. I guess I don't know where I'm at in all my beliefs because I don't know the truth.
yeah,
But long before I give my hard work and my knowledge, the way that I live, before I give that credit to somebody else, regardless of who it is, uh, I mean, I'll give it out to myself and to the universe.
yeah,
I'm not going to say there's any one thing out there that's magically blessing me and making things happen. I had to do a whole lot for myself.
right, yep,
Uh, things don't just get given to you. You can
right,
work hard and you can believe positively and manifest whatever you want. But
right, right.
but thinking on it by itself um,
Isn't
isn't
going
going
to
to get
bring
you
it to life. Yeah,
right.
you have to take the action. Yeah.
The distraction economy. Yeah, the indoctrination.
Yeah, that's exactly
You
what
just
it
got to keep
is.
it.
Sandler's Photon. That's a banjos and booze song. Rondon plays his band Goddamn Gallows, and it's one of the songs is "Y'all motherfuckers need Jesus."
Oh lordy.
It's a funny song, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. So,
yeah.
man, you got you I see one of your posts here. You're holding the hand of a giant.
Oh yeah, that's the Alton Giant.
Wow,
That's Robert Wadlow, tallest man in recorded history.
man, that's incredible.
Eight, 8 foot, 8 foot 11 inches, some change, I believe, almost 9 feet tall.
Dang,
Uh, over 400 pounds, if I remember correctly. Um,
400
and
pounds.
not fat at all. He was still growing when he died.
That is incredible, man.
Yeah, he got a blister on his ankle from his shoes, and it got infected and spread to his blood and killed him.
Wow, man. That's no
Yeah.
joke.
Yeah. So that's one of those things. Like, I believe back in the day there were giants
yeah,
on this.
when you see guys like that, 9 foot
Yeah.
tall.
Yeah. I mean, his
Wow.
genetics came from somewhere, didn't they?
They did, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So, while I may not believe everything that I read out of certain books, when the Bible says that there were giants, it's one of the ones that I believe it. We have them nowadays. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I also believe that if nowadays in the age where we're 5 and 6 feet tall, we can have one 9 foot tall. That back then, hell, maybe we had them 20 or 30 feet tall.
Yeah. That would be
I would,
wild.
yeah. I like to dream, so
Yeah,
that's
me
what I like to
too.
see.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
It's just like you're saying. I don't know the truth, but I'm looking for it because a lot of things aren't adding up.
Right, absolutely. Well, and when you break away from the distractions of the world, you have time to seek the truth. Uh,
Yep.
it's important. We should all be seeking the truth, and we definitely, when you think you have found it, and somebody introduces something that's new you haven't heard of, or that just seems so crazy that you instantly slap them and say, "You retard." Um, Man, just give it a chance. Go do some reading. Just because you've never heard of it, or it seems crazy, doesn't mean it's not true.
Right. Yeah.
I grew up thinking that Christopher Columbus was a great guy that discovered America.
Right.
Come to find out, he created a genocide on an island, killed off an entire population of Indians, fed babies to dogs, and
Yeah.
was just this insane man that later was arrested in France for crimes against humanity.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
There's a lot of
I mean,
there's a lot of stories
truth
like that when you start digging.
truth is so crazy,
It is.
So
They say that
so
truth is stranger than fiction, and indeed it is.
yeah. So I love to hear new stories, and I don't ever get argumentative when somebody has a viewpoint different than mine. Or I try not. I can't. I'm a flawed individual, but
Yeah.
I'd like to say that I definitely don't get triggered.
Yeah.
I like talking about things because, man, knowledge is one of those things that you can't buy. Not
Yep.
yet.
Yep. Yep.
I can read an encyclopedia. It
It's
doesn't
something
mean I'm
that can't get
knowledgeable.
taken away from you either.
Right, exactly. Yeah, and
So,
that's part of its inherent value,
yeah,
kind of like a blockchain.
yep, exactly. Yeah, one of the guys that I'm a big fan of is this guy Chris Dwayne, and he created something called he created his own mini mintage silver strikes, and one of his sayings is "Listen to all but follow none." And
Cool.
so I've
That's good.
yeah latched onto that saying, and I kind of hold that as in my ethos as well. And
Yeah, that's one thing I do try to. I've always tried to teach my kids. Don't be a follower. You know,
yeah,
never tell anybody to shut up, and always listen. But
yeah,
just because somebody that says something sounds good, don't mean it is.
yeah. Everybody's got a story. We're all traumatized in this system that we grew up in, and I think I was listening on LP Faust's little radio podcast the other night, and was talking about getting over all the crap that he was growing up with, or he grew up with, and just trying to get over a lot of that stuff as an adult. And I think I caught a quote from somebody saying is like adulthood is about unlearning all the crap that you were
When you were a
you
child.
learned you learned from adults that were trying to figure out everything themselves.
Yeah, well, that's a good way to put it too. Yeah, because I think when you're a kid, you look up to your parents; they know everything. And
Right.
same thing for teachers. Teachers are in a position to teach, and the kids look up to them. And
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying it's the teacher's fault. It's what they were taught. It's what they were indoctrinated with.
Right.
They think they're doing good, and you know, that is what it is. But yeah, I think that I think our kids should be taught to question everything
Yep. Yeah,
because
I agree.
as soon as you just accept the status quo, uh, a religion comes out and says something, NASA comes out and says, the public school system comes out, says something, and whatever they say, they say, well, that's the way it is,
Yeah, I want to
you know.
do a whole show on NASA. I want to do a whole show on the moon sometimes. Maybe that'll be a side thing, but yeah.
Yeah.
Then this podcast. So I got to come on with Rondon. We got to talk about the moon sometime. Because there's a lot of stuff that ain't adding up on that one. Like
Yeah, you can learn a lot by investing in a scam, but the best way to learn is to invest heavy.
you gotta tumble down the rabbit hole.
You,
Yeah.
you definitely you got to do like the drug war guys. You got to invest more than you can afford to lose. So when the rules change, you learn.
Lesson learned there. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I put my whole life savings into this drug wars game, and I
Oh
lost
my
it.
God! I can't believe
It's
some
like,
some people that did that. Yeah.
yeah, you could really tell by how emotional they were that they went in way too deep.
Right. Right, man.
But
I learned my lesson early on in crypto that you shouldn't. There's a lot of exit scams. Like I got when probably back in 2013 was when I started getting into cryptos, and then my Cilium wallet, they were promising all these big things and created their own new colored coin and all this kind of stuff, and I bought like one of them when it was like $400 or whatever for Bitcoin, and now that token is worth garbage, and I don't even. It's
you'd have
exit
to pay
scam.
somebody to take it from you.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's that was a hard lesson. So yeah, you don't risk what you can't afford to lose for sure, because there's a brand new Wild West going on here, and who knows how things are going to shake out. So
Yeah, before you start investing heavy, we really need to wait until our government has all their regulation. That way, they can at least get their piece of.
oh God, yeah, the yeah.
Every time I take a cash payment from a customer, I cry a little bit because I think about the poor people on welfare that won't be getting their cut of my money.
Yeah. Well, oh, that's it's one thing that I'm not a huge fan of helping out the government in any way that I can help. So
Yeah, it's like I don't know, on South Park one time Cartman got a bunch of money and the pastor wanted him to give it to the church, and he says, "Oh, I think God's got plenty of money." I kind of feel that way. I kind of feel that way about the government. They say they need more taxes. I say, "Oh, I think you've got enough money."
Yeah.
You print $1 and it gets taxed 1,000 times before it ever comes back to you.
Yeah, and so you got, and then you see all these systems around you that don't work, and why should you reward failure? Like why I wouldn't do that in any of my investments. Why would I do that for something that is a failure? So right.
Yeah.
So with that being said, we're coming up on the end of the show here.
Already.
John
Wow.
Doer, and I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to come on and chat with me. It was a very, very awesome conversation with you, brother. And man, you're welcome back anytime. And if there's anything else that you'd like to plug at the end of the show here, any final comments or anywhere that other places people can find you on social media or anything like that?
Yeah, no, I don't have any social media. Steam, it's pretty much it.
Right on.
But I do appreciate you having me, and I hope that everybody enjoyed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great, brother. And Yeah, it's just I love the projects that you're working on. Looking forward to seeing the stone house getting built, man. That'll be a
Oh
really
yeah,
neat project to follow along with.
I plan on doing some time lapse of that. So
Oh, that'll be awesome, dude.
yeah, so yeah, I'm definitely gonna keep everybody posted.
Great,
Never built,
great.
never built my own house, so it'll be a first. Built
Neat.
houses, but
Yeah,
never one for me.
yeah. Wow, cool, man. That's it might be a project that I might try to adopt myself because I'm working on the similar kind of thing. So it'll be great to follow along with you. So, yeah, thanks again for coming on the show, and thank you everybody that was hanging out in the audience. Next week we got another Meadows and Makers podcast, another great episode lined up for you guys, and new guests gonna have lined up for next week. So stay tuned for that. And then looks like we don't have Crimson Clad coming up right after me today. So hang out, and we got some other great shows coming up later in the day. I know Carrie Allen has a show coming up today. If their new time is come on, it's kind of like a improv show, but. Thank you guys for hanging out. Big shout out to everybody, Carrie and Ag. All right, Carrie and Ag tonight. All right, Rondon says we got Carrie and Ag coming up tonight, so stay tuned for that. Thank you guys, and we'll catch you next week. Peace. Hey, thank you, John. I really appreciate you coming on the show.
Yeah, are we still on there?
No, we probably got kicked off of
okay.
It's the next show, so
I got. Yeah,
so,
no problem.
Yeah, man, appreciate you, and I will have this show recording up this evening, and I'll share it with you.
All right, brother.
All right, you have a great one.
Yeah, you too, man.
All right, peace.
All right, bye.